We are sharing this information not to confuse, but to empower parents to make the best choices when taking medications during pregnancy. We are all concerned about the rising rates of neurodevelopmental disorders, including autism. President Trump and Secretary Kennedy are dedicated to radical transparency so that patients have the best, most up-to-date information.
Does acetaminophen cause autism? No!
Hey, if you like this video, you should like, comment, and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, you should also like, comment, and subscribe. And honestly...
Okay, so maybe I should be more specific. It's better to say probably not.
What may be more accurate would be to say the FDA in their explanation for how autism is caused by acetaminophen includes the phrase, "It is important to note that while an association between acetaminophen and neurological conditions has been described in many studies, a causal relationship has not been established and there are contrary studies in the scientific literature." An even more accurate thing to say is that one of the two sources the FDA cites for this finding makes no reference to autism, as it was not a study trying to find a link to autism in acetaminophen. It was trying to show a causal link with acetaminophen and ADHD. What's a little more damning is that the other source did not have a control variable and states that failing to provide something to compare your findings to in your study is bad faith science. And while it doesn't invalidate the findings that 10.8% of the subjects tested have autism, it doesn't give something to compare that number to. While we could compare it to the percentage of people with autism in America, it's probably worth noting that Massachusetts, where this study took place, has a statistically higher amount of autism diagnoses than the rest of the country. By failing to include a control, we have no good way to measure this finding against.
It's very important to remember that I am not an epidemiologist. In fact, I am not a scientist at all. So my understanding of these findings is likely skewed. However, when the FDA makes a claim, and the only thing they have to back it up is two papers, one of which provides corollary evidence to a different mental illness, and the other of which fails to provide the basic tenets of the scientific method, then I can safely say that from my perspective, I am not convinced that acetaminophen causes autism. However, as I am not a doctor, the only thing that I am qualified to say is that there are other scholarly sources out there that disagree with these findings, and you should do your own research. As someone who is not a doctor, that is all I feel comfortable saying, and that is all I feel qualified in sharing with the world. However, you know who is a doctor? Dr. Zain Liu, an epidemiologist who worked on one of the two sources that the FDA claimed. What do you have to say about this?
In an article from the Yale School of Public Health, Dr. Liu outright states, "We do not know yet for sure whether Tylenol causes autism." He goes on to say, "It is important that people understand our knowledge in this area is constantly evolving. We need to convey the possibility that these guidelines may be challenged if new and stronger research data emerge that suggests potential risks during pregnancy and child development."
If the guy leading an international team of people researching this says the jury is out on whether or not this drug can cause autism, then maybe as leader of the free world, it's not the best idea to go on national television and tell the American people that the only recommended painkiller for a pregnant woman is, quote,
"So taking Tylenol is not good. All right, I'll say it. It's not good."
It's also worth noting that the rhetoric Donald Trump uses is contrary to the findings of the Boston birth cohort.
And you shouldn't give the child a Tylenol every time he's born and he goes and has a shot. You shouldn't give a Tylenol to that child.
Let's get into how the Boston birth cohort got their findings. They got a group of 996 mothers together and noted that they had acetaminophen in their system with cord biomarkers. Essentially, they noted that a certain percentage of parents at different stages of pregnancy took the drug, and then noted that around 10% of the children after the fact developed autism. Their findings were that in utero exposure to acetaminophen might raise the chances of autism in children. It certainly did not imply anything about the health of the mother after the fact, or about whether or not children should take acetaminophen. This is outright medical misinformation.
The reason I felt compelled to make this video is simple. Medical misinformation kills people. I understand that pain relief medication is not a life-threatening event. However, I am old enough to remember the last time something superfluous was linked to autism. Vaccines.
We pump so much stuff into those beautiful little babies, it's a disgrace. I don't see it. I think it's very bad.
Sorry, did I say last time? Because in this same address, our president outright stated the lie that vaccines cause autism. He references the MMR vaccine being a cause of autism.
The MMR, I think, should be taken separately. This is based on what I feel. It seems to be that when you mix them, there could be a problem.
A claim that has been debunked numerous times, and use the myth that the Amish don't have mental illness as evidence of this.
I think I can say that there are certain groups of people that don't take vaccines and don't take any pills that have no autism. The Amish, yeah, virtually. I heard none.
A reminder that the Amish do have people in their communities with autism. He makes the same claim for Cuba, which the British Broadcasting Corporation could not find any source to back up. When conspiratorial rhetoric is used as a link between weak findings and public concern, it is a genuine threat to public health, regardless of the triviality of the treatment. Your health being treated as a political token is, in the most charitable way I can think of describing it, irresponsible and dangerous.
See, Bobby wants to be very careful with what he says, and he should, but I'm not so careful with what I say.
Make no mistake, even if the evidence that the link between autism and acetaminophen turns out to be true, which the data at this time seems to be unreliable, the way it was presented to the American people is alarmist. And that's dangerous, not just for the citizens of America, but the world. And as citizens of the world, you have the right to know what is true and what isn't. The medical community is large and their information is out there online. I have linked below the 2 studies the FDA cited in their paper. You can look on them and you can make the determination for yourself whether or not you believe there is a link between autism and acetaminophen. If you are a parent, you have a moral obligation, not just to yourself, but to your family, to make sure that the information you know about the medical community is true, because no one else will give you that information. Not even me, especially not me. A reminder that my degree is in being vaguely funny. I have no qualifications to tell you anything about the medical world. Being a critical thinker is one of the cornerstones of being in a civilized society. Not just being able to receive a lot of information, but being able to parse through it and figure out what is true and what is not true is not just something you should do. In the internet age, it is something that you have a moral obligation to do. Well, I just got off the phone with my mom, and she said that she took acetaminophen when she was pregnant with me, which actually explains a lot of things. Anyway, if you like this video, you should subscribe, and comment, and like. If you didn't like this video, you should also like, comment, and subscribe. And if you didn't really have any strong opinions on this video, you should like, comment, and subscribe. Please remember that I'm not a doctor, this is not medical advice, and my opinions are my own. Hope you guys enjoyed the video.